Langkawi is an archipelago of 99 islands located off the northwestern coast of Peninsular Malaysia. It has a unique paleogeological history, one that has given birth to stunning landscapes, lush rainforests, razor-sharp ridges of limestone, complex mangrove ecosystems surrounded by sandy beaches. This history and Langkawi's millennial-long isolation from the mainland has made the archipelago an important evolutionary laboratory for the island's flora and fauna. Join me, Irshad Mobarak, as I take you through the wonders of the mangrove forests of Langkawi, and we will explore why they should be preserved at all costs. Mangroves are believed to have first appeared just before the extinction of dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago. They are normally found in coastal environments which are vulnerable to constant and dynamic change, dictated by the ebb and flow of the ocean tides. We can consider mangrove forests as one of nature's coastal defense strategies. Mangroves make up 10% of the Langkawi's landmass, but is home to 45 of the 60 species of mangroves you find worldwide. This means that 75% of all the mangroves in the world can be found here. And this is not surprising, because Southeast Asia is the epicenter of mangrove biodiversity. Mangrove swamps are hostile and ever-changing. The plants that grow here need to adapt to the changing tides, salinity levels, varying temperatures, and anaerobic conditions. Today, I have invited Fendi to tell us more about how mangrove species propagate under these conditions. Fendi,
Hi.
can you tell us what we have here?
This is the Rhizophora, a genus of tropical mangrove. It is widely spread here in Langkawi and around the world. Because it propagates so easily, it is considered to be one of the most successful mangrove species. It has a unique way of propagation, starting as a fruit, and the mother would channel the nutrients, then the seed will start to germinate, growing this long spear-like structure, and by the time it falls, it will step the mud right below it.
And what happens next is truly amazing. This top section or part will disengage to reveal two leaves tightly rolled up. These leaves will quickly unfurl and go into photosynthesis soon after. This unique method, where the growth process takes place while the seeds are still attached to the parent plant, is known as vivipary. Some seeds may not be successful in attaching themselves to the mud and will float away, but will eventually find ideal conditions and take root. Not all mangrove species propagate the same way. Fendi and I are going to search for another mangrove species that has a different method of propagation. Fendi,
Yes.
can you tell us what we have here?
This is Xanocarpus granatum, also known as the cannonball mangrove tree.
Why is it called a cannonball mangrove?
I have the fruit with me. It is big, it is heavy, and when it falls, it hits the water, boom, a big splash.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about its propagation technique.
So there are 12 to 18 seeds closely packed together, and when the fruit ripes, it will split open, then the seeds will be expelled and float away with the current, wedge-shaped, so to lodge themselves between the roots of the other species of mangroves, then germinate.
I see. And this technique of propagation has allowed this species of mangroves to be distributed to many other parts within Southeast Asia. Apart from mangrove biodiversity, the mangrove ecosystems on Langkawi also contain a rich fauna biodiversity. The fiddler crab is another very interesting creature found in our mangroves. Their habitat is usually the exposed areas between highest and lowest tides. The best time to observe them is when the tides begin to recede and thousands of these little creatures come out of their burrows to feed. The male fiddler crab has a single large claw, and their bodies are more colorful in comparison to the females. Here we can see the male fiddler crabs frantically waving their large claws to attract a female companion. With so many males vying for her attention, the female fiddler crab has many suitors to choose from. Once she has selected her mate, they will proceed into his burrow. Fiddler crabs are territorial, and it is common for them to defend their burrows. In addition to the fiddler crabs, the area is also visited by other mangrove fauna in search of food. This strange-looking fish is the mud skipper. Here's an amazing fish that has adapted to feed on land. It is able to stay out of water for several minutes at a time by storing oxygen-rich water in its gills, returning ever so often to replenish its supply. It's like scuba, but in reverse. They are mud skippers because of the way they move or skip using their arm-like pectoral fins. At low tide, these creatures will come out to feed, grazing on organic matter left behind by the retreating tide on the mud. But the mud skipper's territorial nature sometimes get in the way of their meals. Soon the tides will rise again, and all the creatures will hurry back to their burrows. Under these conditions of constant and dynamic change, flora and fauna in the mangrove forests have had to adapt in order to survive. The mangrove forest, with its rich biodiversity, plays an important role in Langkawi's ecosystem as buffers between land and sea. With their massive root system, they help prevent soil erosion, stabilize the coastline, and some species also assist in reclaiming land from the sea. This is why their protection is so important to us. Do join me again as I take you through the natural wonders of my island home, Langkawi.